So this is gonna be more of a review, like a vlog style type of thing, where normally I would show clips of the movie or show some stuff about the movie, but I think I'd rather just do the movie kind of like a movie review, kind of like this. Like normally when I see people doing this vlog type of videos, they do like a background, they're probably like at their homes, or like myself, you got me with the two posters on the background. But I decided for this one, I'm just gonna be doing what I think. And normally for the fact that I actually got inspired by doing this by Dog Walker, aka the Nostalgia Critic, who does this type of vlog type of reviews where he just talks in front of the camera and just saying how he feels about the movie. But for this one in particular, I really wanted to talk about the recent Marvel movie, which is The Marvels. And before I get into my thoughts about this movie in general, I just want to say this is a non-spoiler review. I probably will not do a spoiler talk, but this is a non-spoiler review, so don't worry. If you haven't seen the movie, then you should be fine. This is a non-spoiler review for it. Oh, I think it was the year of 2022. I think I missed out on giving my thoughts and opinions on like the movies. Like I thought Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I thought I was one of those people who actually loved that movie, and I thought, yeah, that film was kind of interesting, and seeing the concept of what the multiverse is, even though we didn't go to all type of multiverses, we just went to like one of them. Thor: Love and Thunder, in a way, kind of way it was too heavy on the comedy, and I know Taika Waititi tried to do the same thing what he did with Ragnarok, and it just didn't work. And as I'm recording this, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever it just had its 1 year anniversary, and I thought, looking back at the movie, it's emotional. It had a great soundtrack, and I loved what they did with the costumes and the villain Namor. I really did like about this movie. Now jumping into 2023. That's where the MCU kind of went a little different. And why I say different is because I feel like the way how they're moving these movies, they're kind of rushing a little bit with the visual effects, and some of the stuff is just, I just don't know how to describe it. Like, um, if you've seen my Letterboxd review of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, I was really let down with that film. I honestly despised and I did not like any sort of thing of Quantumania. I mean, there are some good things about the movie, but I will explain that in a future video. I was one of those people who just did not like Quantumania, period. It really disappointed me. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, however, I as I'm recording this, that is actually my favorite comic book film of the year. And I know people are going to say, oh, why don't you say Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is a better movie? But no, I think Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 has been a really good movie. And I really, really loved what James Gunn did with that film. Like a really good conclusion to the trilogy. I love what they did with the story of Rocket. I loved what they did with that film. The soundtrack is great. The ending has got to be one of the most emotional things. And yes, I actually bought an actual Zune. Well, kind of like a replica version of the one that Star-Lord had in the movie, so I got that. So, moving on to the newest film, The Marvels. And what can I say about this one? Like, I will say this, the trailer, it didn't excite me in a way. And I was kind of not on board with it. Like, I just saw in the trailer that, yeah, you were going to team up with Captain Marvel, you were going to team up with Monica Rambeau, and then Miss Marvel herself, and doing this, like a team up trying to save the world. And I think I remember the more it just got more, like, the more trailers that came out, I just got less and less interested, if I'm going to be truly honest. And when the actor strike and the writer strike were full effect, and I think that movie had to try to figure out how to get people into the theaters and watching that movie, because the fact that none of the actors could have promote the film and none of them could talk about it for God for how long, because the actor strike went from July all the way to November. As I'm recording this, they officially made a deal and they finally managed to talk about the movie. Well, a little bit, like literally the day before the movie came out, they at least managed to talk about it for a little bit. It will be enough to get people in the theater. But so I saw the film on a Thursday on its premiere day. That's what I'm doing with every Marvel movie. Like I need to see them at least a day before if its national release. And what do I think about this one in terms of a Marvel movie? I'm gonna go with the pros real quick about this film. Like the good things I could say about the film is that half of the visual effects on this movie looks pretty amazing. Like when you see them using their powers, or whenever they're flying, whenever they're in space, or when Kamala Khan is using her powers, it looks visually stunning, and props to them for making something so good looking. It blends well with the action scenes. Another thing I could say that was pretty good about this is that the costume design, like what I said, I think what I like most about the first movie is just the costume designs that Carol Danvers had to go through. I know she went to like multiple costumes in the first movie, but this one I love the way how the costumes look like. Like some of the new ones really look really colorful and bright, and some of them are like, yeah, props to the costume designer for making something look so colorful and bright, and I love seeing them on the big screen, the costumes and everything. One of the things I will say about it is that the actress who portrayed Miss Marvel, aka Kamala Khan, I feel like she was the highlight of the film. She stole the show for me. Like her energy was there. She really was true to the character of Kamala Khan. Miss Marvel show before 1 year ago, and I thought with the John Hughes type it had, the way how the story was of telling the story of Kamala Khan. Remember, I saw the show and I was like, yeah, that was pretty good. Like, I cannot wait to see her interact with Captain Marvel and Monica Rambeau. And lo and behold, she is the one who delivered half of the good comedy and just really knocked it out of the park with this in her performance as Kamala Khan, and also known as Miss Marvel. Like the way how she would interact with both of them. Like there is one scene I will say though. There's one scene in the movie that you see them all connecting with one another, having a good conversation, getting to know a little bit more about each other. I actually really did enjoy that scene, and just seeing them, like we got Brie, you got like all those the actresses in this movie, they did a solid job. Okay, so here's where I'm gonna get a little negative about this film. The Marvel Cinematic Universe could be a fun thing for me to experience in the movie theater, and lately it's been kind of going off the rails a little bit. Like I said the previous, I wasn't a big fan of Quantumania. I thought with the recent shows that they would give out, like they would give out with both She-Hulk, Secret Invasion, and like I previously mentioned, Quantumania, I was really let down because of the fact that I kind of wish they took their time in developing something that would be as interesting or even as exciting as the previous Marvel movies. But unfortunately, the Marvels has to join the same boat as them. Like, like this is a movie that I really was not giving too much hope for, and it just didn't excite me. It didn't excite me for a movie how it is, and I think what the movie really did suffer from, I think the story was very flawed, and it kind of felt a little dull into the way, like giving it that this movie was like literally the shortest MCU film I've ever seen. What can I say about the story? It's just that we have a new threat, absorb power in order to restore peace to the world that she was living, because back then it was taken away from her. So now she's trying to figure out, oh, if I use the power of this bracelet thing, maybe it could try to restore the power what we lost. And that's their pretty much her motivation in the story. And I will say this, that the villain kind of did not work for me. It kind of felt like she was trying to be in like another Ronan the Accuser, and with her using the hammer and using all that power, it's like really are trying to be like Ronan the Accuser in a way for this film. And the story just kind of felt a little dull, and it just I couldn't feel connected to it, even when watching this on the biggest screen possible. It's like when you're watching these movies you feel invested by it, and I was truly not invested by it. And some of the comedy just fell flat. And yeah, I did mention the actress who portrayed Miss Marvel, she really did have some of the comedy, did have some of the shining moments of comedy in the movie, but even with her, it wasn't able to save some of the stuff that she would do. Like there were some moments that I'm like, this is not even funny. Like I can see why people are getting less interested in the MCU because of some of the stuff they would try to go. Like some of the comedy could be in the levels of Thor: Love and Thunder, where it just relies so much on the comedy that it's trying to get a laugh from the audience. And I, for one, I did not give a few chuckles like here and there. Like there were some moments, yeah, I thought, yeah, that was pretty clever, but other than that, it's just dull and predictable. And in the third act, there is a scene involving Goose the cat and what the cat did. Well, you probably saw in the trailer that the cat had kittens and everything, and there's a scene involving that, and it was like literally the most stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like I actually thought to myself, like, yeah, this is literally the dumbest thing I've ever seen in the movie from a long time ago. Like this is honestly the same levels as the scene in Love and Thunder where Zeus removes the clothes from Thor, and I was like, this is dumb. Like a 6-year-old wrote this scene, and it's like this is not even funny. Like this is literally one of the worst things I've ever seen. This is a movie that I'm trying to take serious, but it's just the comedy. It just doesn't work. Like I really am trying to be like, yeah, this is a movie that this is the Marvels that we're talking about. Like this is a team up with 3 characters, and I'm like, it just didn't work for me, man. And then there's another thing in the movie that you pretty much heard from every critic saying this, like part of the movie where they have to go to a planet, but in order to communicate, you have to sing in order to communicate. You have to sing in order to communicate with these people. You have to sing in order to communicate. And it's like, why? Like, I can understand why Jeremy Johns wasn't a fan of that, or John Campea, he wasn't a fan of it. I was like, what am I even watching right now? Like, am I watching, is this literally like a Disney movie that I just got into? Like, is this, like, I get that this is a Marvel movie, but did it just transition into a Disney movie all of a sudden? Like, this is ironically one of the worst moments I've ever seen in the MCU. Like, yeah, like some of the production on the planet looks pretty good. Like the costumes look pretty good. And there's a scene that Brie Larson has a new, like, this is like her princess uniform, and then there's the prince. Like, yeah, the costumes look good, but it's just, unfortunately, it was wasted a moment where I'm just like, this is dumb. I want to fast forward to another moment. Like, please, I don't want to see a planet you have to communicate by singing with them, or cats doing something very stupid. And it's like, I know people are going to say, oh, you're too harsh on this film. And look, it's not like I'm being too harsh on it. It's like, there is some stuff that I will say that I really did enjoy. Like, actress who played Kamala Khan, she really stole the show. The costumes look pretty cool, and some of the visual effects could look amazing. But yeah, the visual effects, some of them really kind of looked off out of place. And some, it's like, kind of looked undone in a way. Like there is a scene where Brie Larson is flying, and it's like, yeah, like some of it, like the lighting, the shading, it didn't look good. It's like, I can understand why the visual effects artists on Marvel are really getting mad for the fact that all these talented visual effects artists are trying to do their best, but in the end of the day, they're not treated well. Like, I could see all the people are saying like, oh, the visual effect artists, often they would have a breakdown because of how poor treated they are. And I could see why some of the visual effects on like Quantumania, Secret Invasion, She-Hulk, or even Love and Thunder, like some of the visual effects don't even look that appealing. And it's like this is a studio that I had so many respects for, but the way how the visual effects artists are being treated, it's like, this is not even good. Like the visual effects don't even look that good in a way. I would say that if I had to choose between this or Quantumania, like that's a little hard to say, because I wasn't a big fan of the Marvels or Quantumania in a way. But at least with Quantumania, I will say this: the villain Kang, Jonathan Majors, was a better villain than the villain that we had here for the Marvels. Because at least with Kang, I was able to understand what he was going to do, what was his motivation, and the performance of Jonathan Kang. Like, yeah, I really preferred Kang as a villain in Quantumania than the villain that we got here in the Marvels. And both of them just really let me down. Like, it's like, yeah. And this is why people are getting less interested in the MCU. It's like some of the stuff that they were expecting to like be the biggest things could often be really disappointed, or just the audience of how they would respond to it. It's like, this is And this is something that I just really thought about doing. Is like I really would just like after this, I just wanted a flat out break from the MCU. Like here's the thing. Like as much as some of the MCU projects may not be as good, or they may not be masterpieces, or not even may not be the best, but as of right now, it's like with the actor strike being done, like we're only getting Deadpool 3 next year. But even with that, it's like, yeah, I think with one movie, I think we should be fine, because then at least they'll give the other movies time to get this. Like they'll make sure the script is good. They'll make sure the visual effects artists do take their time when developing it, because some of the effects feel like they're being rushed, and I want them to take their time with this one. But in the end of the day, I think the Marvels is just a flat out disappointment for me. And I, for one, was like really less excited for this film. And what I left was just a movie that was just really let down, and just a moments where yeah, the visual effects could be good. The actress who played Kamala Khan was really good. But other than that, this movie's just, I just didn't like it. But even though there is one thing I will say though, but it's technically a spoiler, and I will probably will say, like, I think the end of the movie there is a cameo that I did not see coming. Which, if you've seen the movie, you probably know which one I'm talking about. And there's only one post-credit scene in the movie that kind of leads into what the future is going to hold for the next thing for the future. And all I could say is that maybe with that's like, well, who knows what the future is going to look like. Like I generally don't know how the future is going to be like with the MCU. Like if they're going to be like, I just hope they just take their time with the projects. Like take their time and see what they can do. Like I know King Dynasty and Secret Wars won't be out for a couple years from now, but I want them to at least plan out, take their time, and just figure out what they're trying to do. But does that mean I'm fully done with the MCU because of these appointments I had with the movies and TV shows? No. The way how I would describe it is just that it's like a relationship like you have with someone. You want to be on a break for them, and that's pretty much what I have with a break with them. Like some of the comic book films I had to see this year, like I previously mentioned, I really did not like Quantumania at all. Honestly, I thought Shazam, like Shazam Fear of the Gods, I thought that was pretty underrated. And honestly, this is the second time where Shazam comes out the same time as Captain Marvel, and even the Shazam movies were better than any of the Captain Marvel movies. Like I honestly really like at least with the Shazam movies, like at least it has heart, it has fun. It just makes me feel connected to the characters. And also, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 has to be my favorite comic book film of the year, and I love Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and the experience I had with that movie in the movie theater was just unforgettable. And then the other ones, like you had Blue Beetle, which I really did like Blue Beetle, and I thought, yeah, that was pretty good. The Flash was nothing but a big fat joke in a way. But also then, like the one, I will count this one because technically it is based on the comic. The poster I have right here in the background with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. I really love that one. And maybe I'll do a video on that one, maybe someday. But other than that, all these comic book films that came out, yeah, it's just that two Marvel movies I just didn't like. But if you've seen the Marvels, well, let me ask you guys this. What did you guys think of the Marvels? Comment down, let me know. And if you're interested in watching the Marvels, then good for you. Good for you. And I'm glad that there are some fans of Captain Marvel and people who would be excited for this one. And it's like, yeah, like maybe you'll find some enjoyment. Maybe you'll love it. Maybe you'll be like one of those people who really did appreciate the film. And I, for one, really, more power to you in a way. Like if you're more excited, maybe you'll like it more than I did. But don't let my opinion stop you from enjoying the movie. Like in the end of the day, your opinion is yours. I want you guys to enjoy the film, even though if I didn't like it, just go out and enjoy it. Like that's the thing I can say. But at the end of the day, the Marvels, I just wasn't a big fan of it. I think that's all I have to say about the Marvels, is that I just wasn't a big fan of. So comment down, let me know what you think about the Marvels. Have you seen it? Comment down, let me know what is your favorite comic book film of the year. And I will be doing like I did a couple years ago, I did a comic book ranking, so I'll do another one this year. And all in all, have a good day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.